Hey there folks, Scottsdale Travel Chick Sidekick here, and in this video we're going to cover all the top sites to see on a visit to Tokyo and how to see them across the 3-day itinerary. In addition to touching on all the sites, we'll also call out everything on maps so you'll know precisely where things are at before you get there. If you want to know much more about how to make the most of a trip to Tokyo, be sure to check out our ultimate guide to Tokyo, where we cover a lot more topics, such as transit options and how best to use them, the top areas to stay in Tokyo, dining and nightlife recommendations, weird things to look for, tons of pro tips and more. And finally, if you're not up to doing everything yourself, also check out our links below the video here for some great Tokyo tour providers. Okay, let's start off with a couple of tips on Tokyo logistics and getting around to all these top sites. Although the Tokyo metropolitan area is humongous, you might be surprised to learn that almost all the main tourist sites are contained in 3 primary areas, which you can consider as possibly 3 individual day trips. These 3 regions of Tokyo can be grouped around the main Tokyo train line called the Yamanote Line. There are more than 50 train lines and hundreds of stations around Tokyo, but this main circular line is a key reference to getting around overall. We'd absolutely recommend using Tokyo's transit system, but do know you can also use Tokyo's vast taxi system as well. And again, check out our ultimate guide for much more information and how best to get around using the powerful Suica card, the Uber app for taxis, and Google Translate for communications. Now, finally, let's get to all the top things to see and do in Tokyo. And as I said, I'll group them all into 3 main areas located around that circular Yamanote line. So it will be easy for you to understand the general areas, their key train stations, and what each has to offer. First up is the northeast area of Tokyo with its primary stations of Asakusa, Ueno, and Akihabara. Asakusa is famous for its temple and old shopping streets. The area gives off a more historical vibe compared to most other Tokyo areas. In walking around, you'll find traditional shops, ancient temples, and historical shopping streets. The biggie here is Sensoji Temple. Sensoji is one of the most sacred sites in Japan and the most visited temple in Japan. This traditional temple was first established in 1645, making it Tokyo's oldest Buddhist temple. It's also the location where many important festivals are held throughout the year. Nakamise Shopping Street is directly in front of the temple, and it's a narrow, pedestrian-only, touristy shopping street. But it has some history, dating back to 1760, making it one of Japan's oldest shopping areas. Wander around the 250-meter-long street with almost 90 stores, most selling street food, souvenirs, and personalized crafts. Right across the street from Sensoji Temple is the large tourist information center. It's unique because of the design, and it has a top-floor viewing cafe and rooftop deck. Because of the unique design, it's one of the most photographed spots in Asakusa. Nearby are Denboing-dori and Shin Nakamise streets. One boasts old-style shopping and dining charm with distinctive Edo period architecture, while the other is a more lively main street with colorful stalls. There's a lot to see in the surrounding area as well. Just one of the streets nearby is called Hoppy Street, which is packed full of izakayas and outdoor bars. It's open until very late, and this is an awesome and atmospheric drinking street at night. sip some sake, and get friendly with the locals. Finally, another big site here is called Tokyo SkyTree. And I say big, as it's the tallest structure in Japan and the second tallest in the world at over 2,080 feet. While SkyTree has a commanding view, it comes at a price of more than 2,100 yen or higher, depending on the deck you choose. Finally, to cap off your trip to Asakusa, consider taking a cruise down the Sumida River with the Kokyo Mizube water bus. This is a scenic ride offering an amazing city and Tokyo harbor views, and we recommend this cruise all the way down to Hamarikyu Gardens. It's an inexpensive and nice relaxing experience overall. In addition to the river cruise, there's also a decent riverfront path, and you can walk 20 minutes to come to the National Sumo Stadium. This place is the capital of sumo wrestling in Japan, and the stadium houses over 11,000 seats, and official tournaments last over 2 weeks. There's a cool sumo museum here as well, and if you're lucky, you just might catch one of these guys hanging around. If that's not enough Japanese culture for you, then check out the Japanese Sword Museum nearby as well. It's Nihongo Overload. Ueno is the next area up, and its big attraction is Ueno Park. Particularly popular during cherry blossom season, Ueno Park is not mentioned too much in travel guides, but it's a destination you want to experience, with shrines, temples, pagodas, multiple museums, and even a zoo, all in one place. In fact, 3 of Tokyo's top museums are here: the National Museum of Nature and Science, the Tokyo National Museum, and the Tokyo Metropolitan Art Museum. Finally, the third popular area in northeast Tokyo is Akihabara. Akihabara, or Electric Town, or simply Aki, is famous for its electronic shops and Japanese pop culture. From manga to video games, maid cafes, themed restaurants, game centers, and anime to the extreme, it's all here. Wander around and explore on your own. But to get you started, here are just a few sites to give you a taste for what Akihabara has to offer. First up is Yodobashi Camera. It's the largest electronic store in the world, and it's right next to the station. It's got 9 floors, and it will take you a couple of hours to walk it all and check out some of the unique offerings. The iPhone 16 was just announced 2 days ago, but they have all of the cases and everything else already for sale. And here are cases for every single iPhone. And this is half a floor of just pens. In terms of Japanese culture, Aki is the unquestioned center of otaku culture in Japan, and the stores along Chuo-dori are packed to the rafters with anime and manga. Take your pick. A very unique site somewhat off the beaten path here, though, is the Monorake building. It's a small multi-floor store of old and weird collectibles, and I guarantee it's something you'll never see anywhere else in the world. So this floor has a bunch of dolls and doll parts and doll clothes. Something else unique in the Aki area are the gashapon vending machines. They're all over the place. These machines originated back in the 1960s and dispense capsule toys. And yet another very Japanese thing to see and do. Okay, this is Akihabara Gachapon Hall. You'll see these all over Akihabara, but this is actually a hall, 4 or 5 floors of these various, basically vending machines or gumball machines, but they're not gumballs, they're various toys or anime, and sometimes they're valuable things, but you don't know what you're going to get till you put your money in and try. So we're going to try a couple.
I got Otto.
Okay.
Oh, here he is. Here he is. Super cute.
Back to the stores. Check out one of the multiple Jijo arcade stores here. Each are a multi-story arcade game center. Lots of crane games here and gashapon machines as well, but some other options might surprise you. And of course, we can't talk about the Aki area without talking about maid cafes. Check out the girls along the streets in their costumes, handing out advertisements for their various cafes. Why not check one out? They're not really risque and they're safe for the whole family. Wow, that's already a ton of sights just in this northeast Tokyo area. But we are now moving down that Yamanote line to central and east Tokyo, where here you have Ginza, Roppongi, and Odaiba areas. In this area you'll find Japan's Imperial Palace, and it's where the Japanese Emperor lives today, but most of the area is not open to the public. However, the East Gardens are free to visit, and many tours come here. And in the spring and summer, you can rent a rowboat and explore the moat surrounding the palace, which is particularly impressive during the cherry blossom season. Not too far away from here, though, is the famous Tokyo Station. It's a beautiful red brick European-style building, recently completely redone to its original glory. Not only is it a major transportation hub, it's a historic landmark with a bustling area of shops, restaurants, and more. Next up is famous Ginza. It's perhaps the most well-known area of Tokyo, and it's home to many luxury brands and known the world over for high-end shopping. Ginza was Tokyo's first Western-style shopping district, and it's still where the old money comes to shop. And when you walk the main avenue, it's fun to check out all the unique building designs as well. How about this one that has like plants everywhere up, and then a rooftop deck at the very top. Pro tip, do your best to come during the weekend times when the road is closed for traffic, and it turns into a very big pedestrian-only zone. Whenever you do come, here are just a few of the sights in this area to consider. If you're into luxury shopping, then head to Ginza 6. It's a sprawling complex with hundreds of stores, filled with high-end brands and exclusive boutiques. Not too far away from the main Ginza street is the Kabuki-za Theater. It's a renowned venue where traditional kabuki performances have been performed for decades. And pro tip, they offer English audio guides to help you better understand the performance. Moving towards the waterfront now, there's another famous Tokyo site called Tsukiji Fish Market. It's been quite famous, and it used to be the place where you would go very early in the morning to experience Japan's largest fish market and tuna auction. But despite what you still might see on the internet, the original location closed in 2018, and what is left there are some fish stalls and dining options now called the Outer Market. Unfortunately, it's a shell of its former self. A market, not really the fish auction anymore. Just lots of little shops. Are you a tuna and are you for sale? Auction? No? Tuna. Big fish auction? Okay, looks kind of boring and nobody here. There is a new fish market where the famous tuna auction continues, but you can no longer wander among the stalls and can only view it from second floor viewing windows. This is now called the Toyosu Inner Market, and it's still probably worth doing if you can get there before 8 a.m., after which most of the tuna auction is pretty much finished up. Now let's talk about shrines. They're everywhere in Tokyo, and most are worth a quick stop to check out when you see them. But I'll only mention one here. It's called Hiei Shrine, and it sits atop a hill with a gigantic cherry tree at the entrance. But this shrine is most famous for its back entrance, where you'll find 90 torii gates that form a long tunnel. It's a super popular picture spot. Finally, one more top site in this area has to be the Tokyo Tower. Not to be outdone by the newer Tokyo SkyTree, Tokyo Tower is still a major site, and in my opinion, is probably better than SkyTree. First, I think it has a better view, and there's some history here too. Plus, it's much less crowded than SkyTree. Finally, just a quick point or two on famous Roppongi. Many people have heard of this area as it's an expat-centric area with popular nightlife options, along with high-end dining and shopping in Roppongi Hills, Tokyo Midtown, and newly built Azabudai Hills. They're all in this area. And pro tip, Team Lab Planets is here, and really it's worth a stop. It's a uniquely Japanese immersive art museum type of thing. It's hard to explain, but it's definitely worth doing. Finally, on the other side of the bay to the east, you can visit Odaiba. Here you can find a waterfront beach along with a couple of unique Japanese malls focusing on various game experiences in indoor all-inclusive entertainment centers. Plus, you can also ride a giant Ferris wheel here, which used to be the largest in the world until recently. Our last big Tokyo area with a ton of stuff going on is Northwest Tokyo. Here you'll find Shinjuku, Shibuya, and Harajuku. But before I get there, just a quick shout out that if you're enjoying this video, please give us a thumbs up, maybe a comment, or better yet, forward this to all of your friends. And please consider subscribing to our channel to receive more fun, informative travel videos just like this one. Shinjuku is probably the place you're imagining when you think of Tokyo. Bright lights, crowds, tall buildings, bustling streets, and energy galore. It's the liveliest neighborhood in all of Tokyo and certainly one of the top things to experience while you're there. Starting at Shinjuku Station and moving out, you have Shinjuku Station at rush hour. Of course, you'll want to experience the busiest train station in the world at rush hour, right? Fun fact, Shinjuku Station has over 200 exits, so be careful as it's easy to get lost. Omoide Yokocho, or Memory Lane, is just the opposite. It's a small pedestrian alley near the train tracks where many small historic yakitori and barbecue places are located. Also nicknamed Piss Alley, it's a great place for a taste of old Tokyo right next to the main train station. Kabukicho is next up, and it's the biggie attraction in Shinjuku. It's Tokyo's most famous entertainment district that never sleeps, and where you'll find the brightest lights and strangest nightlife. You have to visit this area at night to really experience it, as it's filled with all kinds of restaurants, bars, host and hostess clubs, dodgy massage shops, and more. Among the sights here are a couple of unique outdoor ones. Godzilla is on top of a building and goes off every hour in the evening. And nearby is also the 3D Cat, which is an electronic billboard with various advertisements, but also cats doing silly things. One more really big one here used to be the Robot Bar, which was a crazy experience and the most popular of all shows in Tokyo. Unfortunately, it's currently closed, but it was an institution before COVID. Keep your eye out and pray that it opens again before you get there. And if so, absolutely do it. Just beyond Kabukicho is another really cool nightlife area called Golden Gai. This area is comprised of more than 100 teeny historic bars, many more than 50 years old. And pro tip, it's a great place to make friends since all the bars are really small, with most holding less than 10 people. Moving on to other non-nightlife stuff in Shinjuku, On the other side of the main station, you have the Tokyo Metropolitan Building. Both of these twin towers have viewing platforms on their 45th floor and are free to visit, unlike most other observation decks. Go to the north building for the best views. On clear days, you can see Mount Fuji in the distance, and in the evenings, the entire city of Tokyo spreads out beneath you. Finally, the Park Hyatt Hotel is here too. Why do I mention that? Well, it's famous for its incredible city views from their upper floor bar, which was also the famous setting for the Hollywood movie Lost in Translation with Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson. Just south of Shinjuku on the Yamanote line is Shibuya, another main hub of modern Tokyo. It and neighboring Harajuku are the best-known shopping areas for funky, youth-centric clothing and accessories. First up in Shibuya, you have to check out Shibuya Crossing, Japan's busiest street crossing surrounded by skyscrapers and bright city lights. It's estimated over 2 million people cross Shibuya Crossing every day. And on the edge of this crossing is also the famous Hachiko dog statue. It's a statue of a loyal dog known for waiting at the station for its owner to return every day for 9 years. Check out the story online. The Shibuya 109 building is also next door, and it's a long-time famous youth-focused shopping mall. It's 10 stories right near the crossing and worth your time to check it out. Also here is the Mega Don Quixote. I'll talk more about these stores later in the video, but just remember, the biggest one of all is here in Shibuya. Just slightly north is neighboring Harajuku, and here you have Takashita Street, which is really a pedestrian-only lane filled with weird and wonderful sights. There are many stores here selling eccentric clothing, strange and weird candy and crepes, lots of people are walking around, and more. Also in Harajuku is the Meiji Shrine and Yoyogi Park. Meiji is a stunning Shinto shrine set in the middle of a tranquil forest of over 100,000 trees. The park's entrance is very near Harajuku Station, where you'll pass through massive torii gates, as well as a bunch of sake barrels on a 15-minute stroll to reach the shrine. Wow, that's a ton of sights we've covered across the 3 main tourist areas of Tokyo. Of course, we have even more tips, sites, and suggestions in our ultimate guide, but this video should give you an excellent start and leave you with more than enough sites to fill up 3 to 5 days of your time. Did we miss any of your favorites, or do you have a secret tip you'd like to share with others? Please let us know in the comments section below, and please consider subscribing to our channel for more fun, informative travel videos just like this one.
Until next time, see you later.